the American dream. To his last breath, he'll always be a soldier.
Heard on great radio stations all across America. It's the National Defense with Randy Miller and Jerry Newberry.
The National Defense is made possible by Ford. Go further. By the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. By ADT Security. More than just a line in the sand. By VSP. For more information on how VSP can help you in your corrective vision needs, visit VSP.com. By Morgan Stanley. Discover how they can help you achieve your long-term financial goals at morganstanley.com. By the Wounded Warrior Project, serving those who've sacrificed for over 15 years. Online at woundedwarriorproject.org. By WD-40 Company. Wherever there's a job to be done, WD-40 brand offers solutions to help you live life hands-on. By Farmers Insurance. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. Find an agent at farmers.com. And by Gorilla Glue, makers of Gorilla Tape, for the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
This is the National Defense. Randy Miller along with Jerry Newberry. As always, our dedication.
Hey, this show's for you, the men and women serving on active duty in the Guard and Reserves. It's for the millions of veterans out there, and it's for all their families. We're here for you. We love you. God bless you.
So proud of our partnership with Wounded Warrior Project. They obviously doing some great work for veterans every single day, and now specifically with your physical health. Brea Kratzert is with us, Vice President of Development and at Wounded Warrior Project. Brea, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me today.
Oh, no, this is great stuff. You know, you guys are always, I will say this before we get into this, out of all the organizations that are out there, and there are many organizations doing great stuff for veterans, as you know, but you guys seem to always take the lead in terms of innovation and pushing the boundaries in terms of your care for veterans. Is that fair to say?
Well, thank you for saying that. Yes, we do challenge ourselves. We look for innovative ways to serve the warriors. But really, we want to identify the needs of the warriors and their family members, and that's where we can step in and fill the gaps, and that's how we develop our programs. And
this new program is kind of a new way for people to get involved with Wounded Warrior and get healthy in the same process, right?
Yeah, so actually our Carry Forward event, so it's a fundraising event to bring communities together, but it is a way to also get warriors and family members out together, getting active with this 5K.
Yeah, so it's a 5K, but it's much more than that because it involves so many different areas of your life and your health. And, of course, on this program, we talk a lot about mental health. But now, why is physical health a big concern for you guys?
Well, every year we survey our warrior population, and according to our annual warrior survey, 87% of warriors who responded are considered obese or overweight. So it is a concern that we are actively addressing through our physical health and wellness programs. And to your point, this 5K is much more than your typical 5K. It's an opportunity to bring warriors together, to get our communities involved, and then challenge yourself, whatever that may look like on this particular day, whether it's walking, running, or taking it up a notch.
Yeah, and you know, that's the other thing too, Brea. We're talking to Brea Kratzert, the Vice President of Development at the Wounded Warrior Project. I think people have come to find out that over the past few years, the whole idea of wellness, it's not just physical, it's not just mental, but you know, when your physical self is feeling good, obviously your mental situation improves, right?
You're correct. We take a holistic approach to serving the warrior. So, you know, we're not just focused on the physical. We're not just focused on their mental health. Also with the, making sure that they're employed and they're in the right job or on the right career path. Again, we address the whole of the warrior and the family.
So what makes this 5K different than the other 5Ks that, happen every day?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked that. So Carry Forward, it is different. It's a different type of 5K. We're asking people to challenge themselves, so get their squads together, but then you get to pick your challenge. So again, it's where you feel comfortable in your journey, whether you're part of our community or you're one of the warriors that we're serving. So you can either carry a flag, you can participate in what we're calling fitness, or fierce. And so there's 3 different levels that you can sign up for.
Well, first of all, I got to get myself a squad.
Yeah, that is the first thing. Pick your squad and pick your city.
But that's the kind of cool thing about, okay, you said pick your city. Can you do this in any city, or are there select cities you're doing it?
Well, there's select cities that we're going to be boots on the ground. So we're kicking off next weekend, October 6th, in San Diego, and then October 13th in Nashville, and then we are going to be in Jacksonville on November 10th. But we have opened this up to everyone, all communities, through our virtual run, and you can sign up, get your squad together. We actually have warriors and veterans and different communities participating in France, Germany, in a lot of different venues.
So this is great. This is like it's such a social situation too, where there's no excuse for somebody not to be involved in this.
You're right. It's not meant to be exclusive. It's meant to be inclusive, to join communities together. And whether you're a walker, you're a runner, you want to come out and volunteer or cheer on warriors, there's a way for you to be involved.
That's great, because, we get a lot of people on this show that always say, well, I want to help veterans. I don't know how to do it. And this is an excellent opportunity right here at a very low level to get involved, but yet to make such a difference, right?
Exactly. We heard that same thing. We heard a lot of our supporters and a lot of communities saying, how can I get involved? How can I support? But I want to be out there. I want to be boots on the ground. I want to roll up my sleeves. And so this is where Carry Forward came from. It really comes from the mindset that, the warriors and family members have served us and they volunteered. So now it's our turn to serve them. And this is just one way that the community can come out and come together and show their support.
We're talking to Brea Kratzert here in the National Defense, the Vice President of Development at Wounded Warrior Project. And Brea, I think a lot of people, maybe they don't know, and it's a great chance to remind them that when people join Wounded Warrior Project, it's not for maybe it's not always for one specific reason. I think that social part of it, the social support and engagement, how important is that to you guys and to the members?
It's extremely important. As you noted, a lot of warriors, they come to be part of Wounded Warrior Project for that initial connection. Through the survey that I've mentioned previously that we do every single year, we found about 80% of warriors that register are looking for social engagement and support. Less than 1% of the population raises their hand to volunteer, and so you can imagine when warriors come home, they may feel isolated. They feel like they're not in the same community they were in before, and so just finding a way to get engaged, finding a way to be around their brothers and sisters and other families, it's really important to them, and so it's very important to us to make sure that they have those opportunities.
Yeah, and you mentioned family members. That's one thing that I would think in the last 10 years, and you've probably seen this too, Brea, where the family members are finally getting some attention for the great sacrifice that they have made and the jobs that they're doing and what they're continuing to do. Because it used to be, you didn't really think about the family members. It was never a part of your thought process. But now it is.
That's correct. I mean, the family is it's extremely important. I mean, when someone goes off to serve, or if they come home and they're injured, it's the family that is there, and their life has changed also. They have also served because they're making a sacrifice, and so we acknowledge that, we recognize it, and so we don't just look to provide services and programs to the warriors, but we also look to provide those services and programs to the family members as well. Again, it's taking that holistic, comprehensive approach.
Yeah, and I love that, because that just means that nothing is off the table. right? You know, we talk to a lot of different kind of therapy situations here in the program, and it's amazing. I mean, what you know, one program may fit someone and one and not another person, and so that's why there's such a great degree of versatility in a lot of these therapy programs. And you guys do a great job in kind of identifying those and allowing the warriors to experience all of it.
Yes, we recognize that no warrior's journey is the same. So anytime a warrior wants to participate with programs at Wounded Warrior Project, we know that they may come in for, to get mental health services, or maybe it's an opportunity to find a different career. But we know that everyone has a different journey, and we're here and ready to serve them when they want to start that journey.
So, you talked about connecting to warriors in the communities. Carry Forward is also helping to raise funds.
It sure is. It's a new opportunity, again, for the community to help us fuel programs, because no warrior or family member ever pays a penny for our programs. We firmly believe that warriors and families have paid their dues, and so now it's our turn to serve them. So
can you give us a couple of ideas of some of those programs?
Sure. So the programs that we currently have, whether it's career counseling, long-term rehabilitative care, or physical health and wellness, those are some of the programs we have. But again, we meet the warrior exactly where they are, and we identify the right program, work with them to make sure they're in the right program, and their journey may change along the way. So a warrior may look to find a career, but then potentially we'll have them come to a family event also.
So this is the first year for Carry Forward. Any plans to expand this?
Absolutely. So we're launching in just a few short days, and then every year we're going to look to expand to be, in cities across America, probably add 1 to 2 cities every year. We're always going to have the virtual run, so people can always participate, especially our military. We really took that into consideration, knowing that a lot of people are deployed, a lot of people want to still support, but maybe they're not in one of these cities, and so we wanted to make sure that opportunity existed.
So what's the best way for people to find out more about Carry Forward?
It's really simple. You can either go to our Facebook page, and that's WWP Carry Forward. You can go on Instagram, or even easier, you can just go to www.carryforward.org, sign up, get your squad together, and start training.
I got to get a squad.
You need to get your squad. I'm going to challenge you to do that.
Oh, man, that sounds so cool. Brea, thank you so much. Brea Kratzert is the Vice President of Development at Wounded Warrior Project. Thank you guys for the great work you continue to do, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me today.
We'll be right back with the National Defense right after this word from Farmers Insurance. When you're dealing with life's ups and downs, it helps to know the ins and outs of insurance. Farmers Insurance has been sharing practical insurance knowledge for more than 89 years. At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. Find an agent at farmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Welcome back to the National Defense. It's Randy Miller, and it's time now for another Morgan Stanley Money Brief. And today we have Brent Crouch back with us, financial advisor for Morgan Stanley, here to speak. Hey, thanks for joining us, Brent.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me on. Pleasure to be here.
Hey, so one theme that we've heard throughout many of these segments is the importance of having a trusted financial professional. And many of our listeners out there may already be working with someone, but what if you don't have a financial professional to work with? How do you find somebody you can trust?
First, Randy, I'd say think about a financial professional the same way you think about other professionals you may be used to working with. For example, most of us have a doctor we go to for a checkup periodically. That doctor may send you to other specialists, or you may seek them out on your own, say a foot doctor or an eye doctor. Similar to other professional fields, there are a lot of different types of financial professionals out there.
Yeah, sure. They can have different specialties. And with so many choices, it can be really difficult to find somebody to work with.
Right, but it doesn't have to be, and that's what I'd like to help your listeners with today. It does require a little bit of planning and knowing the right questions to ask. But if you're hoping to find someone you can trust, it's worth the initial effort.
Oh, of course. Well, okay, Brent, going back to your earlier point, most people do a little research to find a doctor they feel comfortable seeing. Okay, so how do you get started?
Well, I'd say first let's focus on the questions you need to ask. This will help narrow your focus and hone in on what's important to you.
So what sort of questions should we be asking?
Well, what exactly are you looking for? Do you need someone that can help you plan for your children's education, save for retirement, or buy insurance? How about helping you consolidate and pay down debt? Or maybe you're looking for someone who can look at your whole financial picture, compare that to your goals in life, and assess whether you're on track.
Right, like how soon can I retire? Now that makes sense. It'll help you figure out if you need a specialist or someone to help with everything.
Exactly. For some people, a one-stop shop that provides an array of services is preferable than finding multiple specialists separately. Next, start asking friends, family, and some colleagues if they're working with someone, and if so, do they recommend that person? Ask for lots of referrals, then do some research online. You can even ask for references from those professionals so you can help get a better idea of what types of people they work with and the quality of the relationships.
I never thought about asking someone for references, but that makes total sense, kind of like a job interview.
Exactly. After all, you are looking for someone to work for you in a way. Meet with several people and get a sense of how well you connect during an introduction meeting. Trust your instincts.
Brent, this has really been helpful, and I know you have more to help our listeners find a financial professional, so let's continue this discussion next week. Thanks for being here today.
This radio program does not provide individually tailored advice. It has been prepared without regard to the individual financial circumstances, risk tolerance, and investment objectives of the persons who receive it. The strategies discussed may not be suitable for all individuals. Morgan Stanley recommends that individuals independently evaluate particular strategies and encourages them to seek the advice of a financial advisor. The appropriateness of a particular strategy will depend on individual circumstances and objectives. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC, member SIPC.
Explosion outside a Navy SEAL's house.
The agency is trying to stop a serial bomber.
Another mail bomb just detonated. Who is the third target?
We just have a few questions.
What's in it?
Welcome into the National Defense. It's Randy Miller. And, man, it's such a treat to be joined by America's television guy. I mean, this guy, Mark Harmon, has been on your TV screens for as long as you can remember. And, of course, in NCIS for the last, 50 years, Mark. How long have you been on that show?
This is 16, Randy.
It just seems like there was no NCIS before Mark Harmon.
I don't even know. I just know an actor's life is about opportunities, and I'm sure there were people they went to before me, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time today.
Sure.
It's very much a pleasure to talk to you. In our audience of veterans and active duty military and their family, I don't know, if you guys ever keep any stats on this kind of thing, but I got to believe that they are all NCIS people.
Well, it's I think the show originally was conceived by a patriot, and that has something to do with how the show is still done. And we have a technical advisor on staff that's been there from day one named Leon Carroll, who's NCIS, 18-year veteran. And, the actors are all working hard all the time to make what he says and his opinions important. And we understand that the name of the show is NCIS, and it's not that we're doing a documentary, but we do try to do things honestly well and try to keep the agency in mind when we're doing them.
Yeah, and the other, I think, cool thing about NCIS, and the season premiere was this week, what a consistently great show in terms of not just the quality of the performances and the storylines, but also kind of the above-board way that you guys approach that. Is that something you think about?
I've always thought that this show has a creative footprint. When you read the first script, or at least I read the first script of this show, I was surprised by some things because you read it as a procedural, but I was interested in the characters and it had humor, and that was something that impressed me from the start. It's something that's still a part of it, and we've had a lot of changes. There's been a lot of different things going on over the years, but we're still doing really well. And the idea that maybe some of these changes have been some of the reasons that we're still there, and the change has helped us. And I think that's the way the show has always run.
We're talking to Mark Harmon here in the National Defense. And, talk about some of those changes. I'm watching the season premiere, this new season, and it kind of struck me because in the final kind of episode or the final few minutes, there's a lot of technical situations and IT situations. And I'm thinking back to maybe when you started that show, well, those kind of things didn't even exist.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and my character is kind of in the dark ages about that anyway, but which is probably not too far from me. But
I think that's what makes it relatable, though.
Well, listen, I was always interested in playing. Yeah, I never wanted to play this guy with a red S on his chest, and I as an actor, I'm always more interested in the flaws in a character and the things that make him more real and more believable, more approachable than maybe some others, and this group of writers has done such a great job over the years of fulfilling that, and they care so much about what they do, in the first, say, 4 or 5 years of this show, we went through a lot of writers on this show. It was a very tough place for a writer to work. And then in the last 10 years, this show has pretty much kept the same staff, and they're all very different. They all get along. They all like each other. They all eat lunch together. They note each other. So I always put my faith in that. I'm not someone who goes up into the writing room very much, but I do take great pride in them loving their job and being part of this, and all of them being different, and yet that difference is part of why we all do it. It's what keeps it fresh.
Well, and Mark, you've got kids, and that's it's same with my kids on the technical aspect. I can get nothing right. Your kids are the first one to call you on stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
right.
The way it is. It's the best part of it,
You're right.
And I, you can argue that just as in life, not that anybody goes out to fail at something, but the failure is normally what you learn the most from, and I'm liking that in this character. I always have. I always like the ability to just play the most honest part of that. And sometimes for this guy that I play, it's just a reaction. It's just a look. It's just they just stay with things. He's not someone of many words, and yet when he has something to say, he says it. So again, we've gone through 5 or 6 different showrunners on this show, and that's kind of. I don't know. I've never done a show for 16 years, and maybe that's not average, but it's relatively standard that things like that change, and we've lost cast members, and people know about that. But I could argue that us changing our sound guy or our FX guy or our our prop guy have been changes that have affected the show every bit as much.
Yeah, and it's got to be weird. You've been with NCIS for 16 years. You were in the West Wing, which was a great character on the West Wing, did a great job. Used to love watching the West Wing. It's got to feel weird for you when you're not on television.
I just, as an actor, Randy, I just wanted to work.
Yeah.
It might be great to have all those choices. I never have seen it like that. I've been attracted by roles, and then when the family, my own family was our own family was young, I was consciously trying to stay home more, and I tell a story about leaving for the jungles of New Guinea, a few days after our first child took his first steps, and then coming home 3 months later, and he got out of the car by himself, walked on the sidewalk, grabbed onto my leg, and turned to my wife at the airport and just said, geez, I'm not going to be doing, average movies in New Guinea for the rest of my life to stay in the house we're in and miss all this, So I just tried to make some choices that at least kept me home more. The first day on NCIS, we worked 23 hours.
Wow.
And so I was technically home, but still it's a decision I made to try to, pay attention to family and being a dad that's at least around or at least in the same state. And in this job, that's not often an option. You normally go where the work is, or at least I had in the past.
Do you happen to know Lou Diamond Phillips?
Yeah, I know Lou, yeah.
Lou's been a great friend of the show, and it sounds like your attitude and your thoughtfulness and mentality toward that kind of balancing things, the same kind of deal that he has. And,
yeah, well, he was on the tour for La Bamba when I was on the tour for summer school, and so we were crossing each other in cities all across the country. That's where I got to know Lou, and I've been a fan of his ever since. And
good guy,
terrific actor, nice man. And
really
maybe
good
more
guy.
important than that, he keeps things in perspective.
So you did the Presidio too, right?
I did.
Man, what a great movie that was.
Well, thanks. Really good writer, and fun to tow Mark opposite Sean Connery.
Yeah, yeah. How was that?
Well, a little intimidating, I guess. I mean, it's so funny because often in this business, it's never what you think, but I'd seen a lot of his work and was excited about the opportunity to stand up next to him, and that was quite an experience. And
I still remember you from St. Elsewhere.
Me too.
Yeah. How was that experience?
Great. I mean, again, it's all perspective. I mean, you talk about those shows or the movies you like or whatever, and when you get jobs like that first and then take them, then it's time that makes them have the kind of perspective they have. But at the time, I was working as a carpenter during the day and doing plays at night.
Wow.
I got a job on St. Elsewhere, and I just remember being one of those young actors there who just worked pretty hard every day to try to keep his job, and you're working with Bruce Paltrow and Tom Fontana and some people who are really talented, and so all of a sudden you got better words to say, and you're towing a mark opposite really talented people, and it was a really educational place to be for a number of years.
Talking to Mark Harmon here in the National Defense. Mark, have you had the occasion, I'm sure you have in your career, to run across, or I don't know if you've done any USO tours or anything like that, but
I've had the opportunity, Randy, or at least talked about it. I talked about it at one time with Gary Sinise, and I always seem to be working, so that's okay. That's not an excuse. I just at some point that would be special to have that kind of time, and people I know who have done that talk about it, and so I've heard their experiences, and they're always, they're great stories, great tales, great things they've learned.
Who just did a USO tour it kind of surprised me. I don't know why, but Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, I know Brian well. We did plays together, and he's a good man, really good man.
Yeah, and
really happy for him.
Yeah, well,
I am. I'm happy for his career and how hard he's worked and the perspective he's kept on it. It's not easy to keep the perspective on it. I
actually just read his book.
Yeah, I did too. I know that book.
Yeah, that's a good book. When does the Mark Harmon book come out?
Put it this way, you won't be talking to me about
it. I see. So you're still waiting for that ultimate perspective, huh?
Yeah, maybe. I just still feel I'm learning. To me, it's trying to learn something new every day. That's kind of what I get up and try to do, and I enjoy what I do, and that I have the opportunity to do it like I do at the moment has been a really special opportunity in the last 16 years. I don't know that I ever expected it to last in this kind of length, but this show, I've told young actors, and people, decide to leave or make other plans, that's fine, but I've always tried to say, look, it's important how you leave.
Yeah.
And if you're going to leave, just notice some things, notice the fact that you're coming to work on a show where you're working with a tremendous safety net under you every day, that you get the chance to work with great friends every day, really talented people that in all walks of life have done wonderful work and choose to be on this set. They're paying you a lot, and by the way, it's the number one show in the world.
Yeah, right, and has been for a long time. And Mark,
well, it has. It's really kind of locked in there since probably in its runs, year 7 or 8. We started to do better in year 5.5, 6, right in there somewhere. But in the beginning, Randy, we were. I don't think we were good enough to get much attention. I don't think we were bad enough to get canceled. And we shot way out in Santa Clarita. No one wanted to drive out there. So those were all advantages that gave us a chance. The fact that the work is still important, and we're all still there trying to be directed and learn a few things and take some chances and grow the show and the characters.
Man, Mark, it's been it's great to watch you. It's really wonderful to speak with you, and I just want to thank you for the time.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Well, I really appreciate the time, especially as the new season begins. And you don't need it, but continued great success and good luck. And thank you so much.
Well, listen, it did very well last night. I'd sure like to thank the public out there and the watchers and the people who follow this show, because without that, this ride wouldn't be a quarter of what it's been.
And please say hello to your wife and let her know that we still love her.
I will tell her that soon.
Mark, thank you so much.
Okay, Randy, thank you.
We'll be right back here in the National Defense. We'll be right back in the National Defense right after this word from Farmers Insurance. When you're dealing with life's ups and downs, it helps to know the ins and outs of insurance. Farmers Insurance has been sharing practical insurance knowledge for more than 89 years. At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. Find an agent at farmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Hey, welcome back to the National Defense. It's Randy Miller, and you can see clearly now. Eye Insights with VSP Vision, a brand new episode. Dr. James Winnick is here, and okay, now we're talking about things that are seasonal. These problems that you have in the fall and the winter, and just like everything else you would do, you got to do things for your eyes. And today we're going to talk about some seasonal foods to boost your eye health. Dr. Winnick, what exactly are some of these staples that can boost eye health?
Randy, especially with our modern processed foods and our fast foods and our busy lifestyles, it's hard to get all of the right foods in our body to get the nutrients we need. And some key things that we want to make sure we get in our diets are lutein, zeaxanthin, omega-3 fatty acids, beta-carotene, your vitamin C and E, zinc, and all those are all called antioxidants. And they reduce the risk of inflammation in our body and help prevent conditions like macular degeneration and a whole host of other things.
Well, and you told us, where you can find some of those vitamins. I think wine is also, red wine has antioxidant properties.
Red wine extract does help in moderation.
Oh, in moderation. Of course he has to add. Hey, Doctor, we always hear carrots are the best. Any other vegetables you can recommend?
Yeah, carrots are great because they're high in beta-carotene, which is a nutrient we need. Other fruits and vegetables that can provide that are cantaloupe, mangoes, apricots, peaches, sweet potatoes. But the one you also always hear about are the dark green leafy vegetables.
Yeah.
That's where your lutein and your zeaxanthin is. That's the stuff the kids don't want to eat.
Right.
Right. Your spinach, your kale, your collard greens, broccoli, asparagus, things like that.
Hey, kale's a new superfruit. I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it is.
So aside from vitamins, what else should we be paying attention to?
Omega-3, and specifically omega-3 as opposed to omega-6s are real important. We get plenty of omega-6s in our fast foods and et cetera, but omega-3 helps us with eye and general health and cardiac health, also with dry eyes, helps protect the blood vessels within our eye and our body. And you find this in nuts, fish, canola oil, soy, vegetable oils, flax seeds, things like that.
Any particular meats that are good for eye health?
Cold water fish.
Really?
The category of cold water fish is where you can get those omega-3s. So in the wintertime, salmon is a big one that people eat. Other fish in that category would be tuna, anchovies. Sardines are an excellent source of omega-3.
Huh.
Oh, that's amazing stuff. I've never heard that before. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, Randy, this is great news. VSP is currently a vision carrier for hundreds of thousands of patients through the Federal Dental and Vision Insurance Program, which most people know as the FedVIP program. They're now going to be offering vision care for military families and retirees, and you're going to be able to enroll in vision care coverage during the open season, which is November 12th through December 10th of 2018. And that'll give you and your family coverage beginning in January of 2019. And you can get more information about that if you visit choosevsp.com.
ChooseVSP.com. Dr. Winnick, thank you very much. We'll be back next week with the brand new episode of Eye Insights with VSP Vision right here in the National Defense.
All right, welcome to F-150 Radio. Today, the new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar. Why? Eugene, go.
I think because Ford engineers always add new stuff, so the competition can't catch up.
Whoa, Eugene sounds like an expert.
Well, I got a store that sells exclusively bar-raising merchandise, like a calendar with an extra month.
An extra month?
Extrebuary. It has 32 days.
So you can appreciate the new 2018 F-150 raising the bar with available bliss with trailer coverage. It monitors your trucks and your trailer's blind spots.
How about our new bar-raising poker chips? You can play with them or eat them. So,
The new 2018 F-150 raises the bar with auto start-stop, standard on all engines, and an available 10-speed transmission.
We have sandals with available built-in socks.
And we are out of time.
Huge in Oregon.
This is the new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar.
Driver assist features like Bliss are supplemental and do not replace the driver's attention, judgment, and the need to control the vehicle.
This Halloween, make your house that house. The one that screams Halloween. The Home Depot can help with free delivery on all your online orders of spooky yard decor. Get life-size witches, posable skeletons, fierce-looking dragons, even zombie horses. Yeah, that's a thing. Give those trick-or-treaters the show they deserve and get free delivery on all your online Halloween orders. Only from the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Free delivery, no minimum purchase, valid online only.
This is the National Defense.